clear. Fight path.
Are being wanted in.
Whatever's.
Wanted down.
Yeah. We ready?
No,
I think so.
I'm never ready.
3, 2, 1. Just a second.
Oh, great. Now you make us look horrible.
I always do that. Isn't that my thing? Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I love how you do it with your thumb.
Untap.
Welcome back to MTGYou, the Magic the Gathering podcast for you. I'm James.
Limousine lunchtime.
Whoa!
I'm Damon.
Ham boning. I'm Rich.
So, Hive Mind's a thing. I'm Blades.
It's Thursday, the 17th of July, 2014. We're coming to you live from Studio U. Thanks for joining us. This is episode 43.
Upkeep.
All right, so in our upkeep, this is where we do the news. What do we got? What do we got happening, guys?
So, M15 is coming out tomorrow, releasing officially.
Which will be, I guess, if you're down in podcast land, it might be today or yesterday or whenever.
Or a week ago or
Yeah.
6 months ago.
Time
We're
travel.
50 years into the future. Hello,
Yeah.
future.
Hello, future.
Looking good.
Yeah.
I'm totally
Nice
gonna
flying
be-
car. So, and Duels of the Planeswalkers already came out. Who has it?
I don't have it yet. That's paycheck tomorrow. I'm getting it, so I'm
Right.
excited.
That's where I'm at.
Soon.
James, though.
I
James has
have
been
it.
playing it though.
I've been playing it. I've been trying to play it. I would like to play it more, but I haven't played it enough yet. Last night, I was playing a game just before bed, and I was just at the point where I was dealing the lethal damage, and this always happens to me on my iPad. That's when it dies.
Oh.
It just as it's like poof. I go back to the home screen. I tell you.
So it's like just you ran out of juice, or just it kind of
No, it
flubbed?
just it does it on purpose. I know it does it. It says, "Oh, you can't win that easy."
The iPad wants to keep up its win ratio.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what else do we have? We talked a little bit about Laux last week. John Laux from Limited Resources fame. What do we know? What do we have in the news this week with him?
So he did release a blog post that kind of just detailed why he left. And I mean, we'll go ahead and include a link to that blog post in our show notes for you guys to check out. But essentially, it sounded like he was really excited to work on Magic, was really excited to work in digital games. But like overall, the system, like there's just so much momentum going in a certain direction. And he just constantly felt like whatever change he could make, he wasn't making enough change, and it sort of caused some frustration.
Right.
And then there's some other personal stuff going on at the same time.
Sound like
so,
there's a little bit of depression going on there, and different things.
So anyways, it looks like he's now lined up to work at another digital game company that's a little bit smaller. It's a startup, and I think he'll feel like the work that he does, he can like actually see the change, which I
What's
don't
the
know.
difference between being like small business versus big business, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and as like, I don't know, for my own industry that I work in, nursing, like there's frequently not like visible. It's like, oh, the person still isn't dead. So I can kind of relate to the frustration
That's
of
at least a plus.
Right, but like it's it's like basically the same as when you walked in the door, right? So, anyways, I can certainly appreciate not seeing visible changes or anything like that in your work and that being frustrating. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah, best of luck to him. I hope that everything works out for him. I know that was a lot of people say, hey, how could you not be happy working for Wizards? That's your dream job. But things aren't always as they seem. Things don't always go as smoothly as you want, and sometimes when you get around to doing what you
life
think,
happens,
yeah.
right? I mean, sometimes it's not what you think it was when you got into it.
But
so.
I'm looking forward to him getting back into streaming and into the pro circuit and things like that. That'll be awesome. He felt like he was disconnected. Anyway, that's probably enough on the Laux. Let's move along to this next piece. Who wants to talk about this?
so go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying. So everybody knows, like last year we had the San Diego Comic-Con, black negatives of the Planeswalkers, right? For those of you who went to San Diego Comic-Con and got those are pretty sweet. They're going for like
$800.
$800. Yeah, it's crazy. They're actually going to be doing it again this year. But the cool thing is they're going to be doing it for all 6 planeswalkers. And Jae Lee, who actually does the artwork for Batman Superman right now, is going to be doing the artwork for those. So that's actually kind of cool. They had a comic book artist come in to do the artwork for these Magic cards. That's pretty exciting.
Something a little bit off the radar.
Right, and I guess the other crazy thing is, like, so now not only will Magic players want to be buying this stuff and have it for their collection, but now people who are big Jae Lee fans from comic book world will also want this limited edition print run of his art as well. And so you can expect it probably to be even more rare.
If you're in the chat room or watching this on YouTube, here's one of his famous covers. This is from a Batman Superman issue.
That's issue number 1, I believe.
Number 1.
Yeah, that was from issue number 1. But here's I'll just move this along here.
The new 52.
This is sort of the Garruk Axe Predator and kind of the black.
The black on black
versions. It's pretty cool.
It's purple.
Yep.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And then these are going to be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
This along with the Garrick axes, right?
And my
actually, so at the pre-release, you could have gotten an opportunity to, like, if you send in your picture, like a 5 to 7 second video, you can have the opportunity of winning a Garruk Nerf axe on top of going to Comic-Con in San Diego and paying a buttload of money to go get one. But yeah, it's pretty sweet though. So.
Yep.
And
hey,
then
if any of you guys are running any of the video back to your machine, maybe you could just turn it off. We're having a lot of frame rate problems, and I'm trying to figure out what could help. Normally we don't have this problem, but I'm just noticing it. So
I just turned mine off. So
there's some other neighbors that are all streaming Netflix at the same time in the neighborhood.
Maybe.
Jeez, guys.
Maybe that's
Silly neighbors with their silly Netflix.
Okay.
Next thing is we got the Holiday Cube is returning to MTGYou. Christmas in July, because it's the Holiday Cube. But anyways, if you play MTGYou, it's a super cool cube list. It's got Power 9 in it. It just does all the broken things. The cube that I have that is largely okay, so it's all proxies. Is based off of last December's Holiday Cube, and anyways, it's just a blast to play. So if you're into that at all, I strongly suggest checking it out. It's a load of fun.
I'm excited to see what changes they made for sure.
Yeah, I think I'll probably be copying some of them myself for sure.
Proxying, like all the cool proxies you've been.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's some cool stuff out there.
Also, what's this freaking bullying, man? What's up with the bullying that's happening recently?
There's a group of let me see if I can see here. I read this on MagicJudges.org. A number of people came together to help define the rules for what's it called, the
Unsporting Conduct Major.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This is. Anyway, I'll put this link in the show notes too, because I thought this was pretty interesting. Starting with a definition, this is what it says: a player takes action. A player takes action toward one another. This is going to be considered major unsporting conduct. A player takes action toward one or more individuals that could reasonably be expected to create a feeling of being harassed, threatened, bullied, or stalked. This may include insults based on race, color, religion, national origin, age, gender, disability, or sexual orientation. Threats of physical violence should be treated as unsporting conduct. This is a really interesting article about these changes where I even thought this. It is possible for an offender to commit this infraction without intending malice or harm to the subject of the harassment. In other words, you could just make an offhand, flippant comment and not even mean anything about it, and this would still apply. So
probably to protect people from going like, I wasn't being mean to him, blah.
Right.
I wasn't saying things like that.
Dude,
like,
it was obviously a joke, bro.
Yeah, brah.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Right.
Totally.
We're looking at the cause, not the effect. Did someone feel uncomfortable is not an effective way to determine whether this infraction applies. Though many instances of unsporting contact major will start with a complaint from a player, we do not rely solely on a victim taking the sometime extraordinary effort to speak up. When we see something awkward or suspicious, we need to act.
I wonder if
So-
that's has something to do with the crack.
It does. In fact,
that ties
yeah,
into that.
it does
Absolutely.
vary, and basically what it's going to come down to is, yeah, I apologize if you notice frame rate pausing and things like that. We're having a little bit of a frame rate problem. Hopefully it clears up here in the next little while. Anyway, it does say, where was I going with that?
The
Boy.
rules violations of like what happens to the player.
It's right. Thanks. It's not just a game loss; it's a match loss.
Oh wow.
Because basically they're saying, if this happens, what is the likelihood that you're going to want to sit across from the person that committed this and continue playing against that person? So, I'll put this link in the show notes. I think it's a very good, well thought out article. And anyway, we can move along.
Seems pretty fair.
And so I know that the video is choppy. Is the voice coming through okay or not? Is it also choppy?
I already dropped my thing.
I'm just going to ask the chat room if it's.
We can also go into the recent banned and restricted announcement has been released.
Yeah. What
Oh, it
about
has?
that?
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been released. Still no changes.
No
Cool.
changes. They didn't bring Deathrite back.
Deathrite is not back, but
Pod didn't
Pod
disappear.
did not get
Pod
the
is
ban.
So okay, I have to say this. I love you, Deathrite, but Pod has never been so consistent. Now that you're gone,
Yeah.
it's kind of sad but true. Like, I mean, he was good, but hitting Noble Hierarch has its other good reasons too. So that's pretty cool.
All right.
I actually didn't hear
Always
anything.
a bright
so that,
side.
you know, no news is better than bad news. I guess,
Oh,
right?
no
Yeah.
news is better
So
than bad
we're-
news.
you are safe for another 3 months, sir.
Okay. And they do say that the sound is good, so the frames are just. Fortunately, it's just the video, if anything. And looking at us isn't the important thing anyway, so that's good. Anything else in our announcements?
I don't think so.
Okay. Shall we move along? Here we go. Here we go. I said.
Draw step.
That's what I thought. In fact, that was kind of soft.
I didn't even say anything that
Let me
time.
let me go back.
It's
and
been one of those
do
days.
that.
Now it'll be like Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Draw step.
Draw step.
There we go.
That's better. Okay. So in our draw step, first we start off with our Click You. Who's our Click You today?
So today we'd like to shine a little bit of a spotlight on compulsive research. You can find this on twitch.tv/legitmtg. This is the streaming channel that Mr. Scotty Mac of the A-Team uses, but he also has a bunch of his own sort of personal side projects that he does with Magic. Anyways, he has a lot of pretty famous people actually in the Magic community come onto his stream, and he pilots the deck and has them sort of coach him through it. And so we get kind of like a really great look into how to play the deck from the very best people in the game. It's a great stream. I really strongly suggest watching it if you're into Constructed. He's been on a big Modern kick lately, and if you were tuned in earlier, we were playing sort of the newest
Team Geist deck, right?
yeah, Team Geist with Geist of St. Traft. And I've been sort of on the hunt. I know that Modern really like rewards, you know, repetition and knowing the deck really well, and I just felt like I haven't found a home until now. This deck is just so much fun to play. And so, anyways, Rich randomly like tweeted out and said, "Hey, we're playing this on stream," because that's what we were doing just before the podcast today. And he was kind enough to come in and drop into the chat and hang out with us for like an hour
get some
while
pointers
Rich was
and-
playing. And
Yeah, get some pointers and talk to us and stuff. Was pretty sweet.
yeah, anyways,
Awesome.
Not
so
And
that
then
is
Blades
our
wrecked me though.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my gosh,
Summer
like-
Bloom, man, does its stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys missed out on those videos, go check them out.
For sure.
Yep. So shout out to Scotty Mac and Legit MTG Compulsive Research.
Yep.
Moving along, we have, and I am going to apologize in advance. We don't get that cool robot voice reading our cards today. So first up is, let me see. First up is Damon.
All right, cool. So I'm going to be doing the Soul of Shalandar. Sorry, Chandalar. I always want to say Shalander.
of Chandalar.
Yeah, so Soul of Chandalar is a red 4 for a 6/6 mythic creature avatar. He's got first strike. For red 3, Soul Chandelar deals 3 damage to target player and 3 damage to up to 1 target creature that player controls. And then when he's in the graveyard, you can exile him and do the same ability again for the same mana cost. I opened him in my sealed deck for the pre-release, and I felt like if I got to untap with this guy on the table, I just couldn't lose. I mean, he was just so effective.
5 mana for 6 damage.
That's pretty house.
Yeah, and like the fact that he has first strike means that he just wins all the combats, makes him really hard to block because, I mean, he could actually take out a 9/9, which is kind of bananas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like just I also could just play kind of defensively and leave him back and then just like shoot their guys every turn and just slowly 3 them down out of the game.
So who do you think is the best soul?
I don't know if
Phyrexia.
I don't know if there's a what the answer is for constructed, but I gotta say I don't think I could imagine opening a better soul for limited.
Because I opened up Theros and Ravnica in my sealed boost, and they didn't get me anywhere. Of course, Ravnica stayed in my box.
I got you. You just didn't have quite the support for black.
Yeah, right.
Gotcha.
For blue.
Blue.
Ravnica.
Blue.
Yeah.
Oh, for Ravnica. Sorry.
I played Soul of the Zendikar and it was okay, but the Soul of Innistrad, which we'll talk about later, I thought was great.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he was my absolute not close MVP for the pre-release, and so I thought I'd give him a highlight and say if you open him at any point in a draft or a sealed, feel a little bit better about your chances.
Yep. All right.
Really good.
So I'm going next, and my MVP is not Ornithopter. My card this week is Ornithopter.
Okay.
And you're like, what? Well, why do I want to bring this up? Because I did open Ornithopter, and my first thought was, wow, 0? Heck, man, why don't I run this in my deck? It was a bad idea, and I didn't. Thank you to I had some people help me out with, and then I went ahead and read some stuff over the weekend afterwards, and I just want to point out this card because this is a bad card.
It's a bit of a trap.
It is a trap. It's a trap for new players, and I just wanted to bring this to people's attention that just because it's 0 doesn't mean you're not paying something.
But James, it's free. It's 0.
It's free, but
It's free
but it
99.
costs you a card slot.
Right. Yep.
And
a little bit of your soul.
and a little bit of your soul.
But it flies.
An Ornithopter loses its wings every time someone plays one of these.
That's one thing I noticed at the pre-release event was like everybody, like seemed like almost everybody pulled an Ornithopter or their 6 booster packs.
Yeah.
Like it seemed kind of commonplace, at least it seemed like. But a lot of people were putting them in their decks, and over most of the time in the game, like they just seemed like they were chump blockers.
There are very few
right?
times where it's right to play Ornithopter.
Right, like if you have the artifact support for it, like Angry Scissors.
I mean,
you
and,
know
and
what I mean?
arguing,
That's great,
there could be an argument that says, hey, there is a place for it in an artifact deck where artifacts matter, like in this one, where so there's Shrapnel Blast, you sacrifice an artifact to deal 5 damage to creature or player. That would be great because then you wouldn't be paying anything for it, but except a card slot.
You're still paying a card slot. That's
You are.
2 card slots to deal 5 damage.
Exactly.
And that's on the off chance that you draw them both together,
Right.
which is
Right,
pretty slim.
There's a few things that like have flying. There's a guy that has flying if you have artifacts. There's Angry Scissors that makes it a 5/5 beater.
In Soul
Like,
artifacts.
And Soul
right?
artifacts.
Yeah.
You
It's
need
it is the Angry Scissors.
You need
though.
at least 3 enablers to make him good, is
Yeah.
what I'm calling.
And is it-
Preferably more.
And Clayton in the chat room says, isn't Orny good if it's in your opening hand? It blocks their 1-drop all the way in limited and acts as a land
With Convoke.
Convoke in M15.
So do all your good creatures,
yeah,
though.
so do good creatures.
Yeah.
And early on, again, it's the fact that it's called opportunity cost.
It never feels bad
Is-
top decking a creature later in the game, but top decking Ornithopter just
Listen,
it hurts.
if you had a chance between running another basic land or this, which would be better?
I go to 18 or 9, maybe 19 lands.
That tells you something.
Yeah.
That actually tells you something. If in a draft you pulled this, that's how pretty much.
I mean, I could see maybe if you draft like all the Shrapnel Blasts and all the Ornithopters, and you got really lucky.
Once again, you need the enablers.
Yeah, but in
Right.
Sealed, man, I just never see a chance
Well,
to
like-
play it. So
yeah, we're not playing Affinity.
Yeah.
right in Infinity though, obviously it has a place, but
Yeah. And has a cool name.
It does.
Ornithopter, that's a great name. You know, who wouldn't want to?
And coming to you live from the Channel 2 News Ornithopter.
That's right. and Ornithopter is a thopter. You never notice that? It's a thopter.
It is a thopter.
Yeah. Are there other thopters?
There are. There's a
Thopter Assembly,
Thopter Foundry?
Thopter Factory.
Factory?
There's a bunch
That's
of different
awesome.
things.
All right. Well, let's move along. Next up, we have who is this? Whose is this? who chose this
Blue,
card?
it's not mine.
Blades.
Oh, it's Rich.
Nope, that's
Oh,
Rich.
that's actually me.
Is it?
This week I
Rich.
chose Chasm Skulker. I'm going off of the green path a little bit. He costs 2 colorless and a blue for a creature squid horror. He's a 1/1. Whenever you draw a card, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Chasm Skulker. When Chasm Skulker dies, put X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk onto the battlefield, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Chasm Skulker. Now, this is the card designed by Mike Newman, the guy who did Borderlands.
Borderlands,
correct? The idea was it's supposed to be like Cthulhu themed, blah blah blah. I got one of those guys in my sealed pool, and I actually played Grixis, and I played with like Rummaging Goblins, Jason's
Oh my
Ingenuity,
gosh.
and stuff like that. And the Chasm Skulker, like I never got him above a 5/5, but it didn't matter because if they killed him, I just had a bunch of guys that were just going to kill him over the course of the game. And
Yeah, you just swarm them.
yeah, and this is just actually kind of makes me really want to brew like a blue-red list in Standard right now with like Is It Charms,
Whoa. Everybody hold
Ingenuity,
up. Just remember,
Kuranos, like
Rich is saying he wants to brew with blue
Chasm Skulker.
and
Don't-
red
Hey, listen.
in Standard.
That's what I want to do too. Think about it. I mean,
But- yeah, it sounds
I mean,
like
when a green mage and a red mage wants to brew with blue, whoa.
there's something
Watch
wrong.
out, Dr.
There's
Seuss.
something wrong. Yeah, like I'm excited to see like I'm excited to see what they're going to do with this guy, and I'm way excited basically.
Yeah, like I said, I want to run this guy with
Well, think about it like
with the mining one.
see, I want to run a Perforos. So you're like, or like Barrage Expendable, so you can like sacrifice it and then like trigger, blow it, like do tons of damage, and then sacrifice the little dudes.
Mhm.
We're gonna say
Wow.
Blades. You looked like you're gonna say something.
No,
Perforos Barrage of Expendables. Young Pyromancer.
It's
I,
happening.
I'm
Yeah.
actually
Call-
not sold. I'm not sold.
It's gonna be so terrible. I want to play it.
I think it sounds
know.
really cute.
It does. All right, moving right along. Blades, you are
Frostlinks. So Frostlinks, 2 colorless, 1 blue for a creature elemental cat, 2/2. When Frostlinks enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature does not untap during his controller's next untap step. So I'm opening this wonderful cat for pre-release,
man.
and I was so happy I did.
Probably one of the best, if not one of the best commons.
Absolutely, without a
in the whole
doubt.
set.
In blue, let alone it's first pickable worthy.
It is. Yeah.
You do need to not have any other bombs in the pack to get it, but he's at least going to go at least the first 3 or 4 picks, I would assume. But just the 3 mana for a 2/2 body, that's like you're gonna play that more times than not. But just the fact that he taps something down and you get through for like 2 turns free damage, that's pretty supreme. It's hard to beat that.
Draper Shop has a problem with. Yeah, it's his connection.
Yeah.
You're good.
So
I got 3 of this guy in my seal
3?
pool. 3. And so like I was basically able to go like the guy. I like play a 2-drop guy like a bear. Play this
Yep.
guy, tap down their big guy, attack. And like play another guy to block your guy. Frostlinks, tap down that other guy to attack. Like it just kind of templed them out. I love him. He's sweet. Definitely, I think he's kind
he
of a
seems
bomb for a
fairly
common.
aggressive.
Yeah.
Where blue normally in sets past have not seemed to be too aggressive. This guy seems
Ability
he's
bear.
not dead
I
at
like
any
that.
point of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's good too.
Yep. I think
Absolutely.
we all agree that he's good.
And everybody I have talked to has claimed that he's good. Everybody at the pre-release and everybody I've talked to since has just had nothing but good things to say about him.
Frostlinks.deck.
Okay. All right. So that about wraps up our draw step. Let's move along. This just isn't going my way.
Main phase.
There we go. Main phase. Today, well, we just got done with pre-release, and this weekend we have release weekend where we do, sealed. We do a sealed draft. And so we wanted to kind of break it down, talk about specifically M15, but maybe a little bit on the general side of doing a sealed. Did I say draft? I
Just
didn't mean
building your
draft.
sealed
Well,
deck, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't.
referencing specifically to M15,
Yeah.
but not only to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of people, especially at the shop, that were questioning, like, sealed. How many lands do I play? Blah blah. Like, what consistent, like, how many creatures to put in, like curve, etc. So we're gonna kind of talk about a little bit about
Focusing
that.
a little bit more on it.
Yeah, for sure.
So where do we start?
Well, I think we've mentioned this in the past. I think there's a lot to be said for preparation.
Oh, yeah.
You taking a look at the spoiler, or maybe you've bought a bunch of booster packs or something, but just kind of familiarizing yourself. It's amazing how your brain can start to shortcut if you've seen something before, even if you can't recite it afterwards. You'll see a card and start to read and go, oh yeah, I've thought about this card and how it works, and it just makes sense faster. And when you're doing competitive sealed, they only give you a certain time limit to build your sealed pool. And so being able to shortcut that way is really handy. Although in most pre-releases, they're a little bit more relaxed about all of that.
Yep.
It's still nice to have an edge. And also, like, for me, it takes a lot of stress off. When I'm in a room with, maybe 70 people trying to, like, open up my cards and trying to read what each one does, and then I got my buddy, Ian. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I just opened the banana pants. This is awesome!" And I'm like, "Okay, this card does a thingy, banana pants, and it does a other, and I can't understand."
Hey, I'll trade you for that. I want that when you were done for
right.
playing
Like,
pre-release.
it just if I already kind of know what the cards do, it makes building just a whole lot easier. And then. One of the other things, too, is you can kind of look at frequently the number of bears, the 2/2s for 2, or 2/1s for 2 in a format, and also look
or
at how
1/2s here in M15. There's a lot of 1/2s
Yeah, that's
that
true.
are actually pretty sweet.
But look at the number of kind of aggressive low drops, and also look at how cheap the removal is, and that will frequently tell you about how fast the format is. And I would say that M15, my experience with it so far is that it's just a very normal speed format. Is that
That's-
kind of your
Yeah,
guys'
it
experience?
seems fairly moderate paced.
Yeah,
That's what I've heard. It's not super. I guess M14 was on the slower side.
very slow. Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
this is a little fast. Obviously, this is faster than 14, but not as fast as some of the others have been.
It's also pretty level playing field. I didn't feel like any one color was dominant,
Well-
other than like other people. That's what
Precisely,
they picked
like-
Well,
in their packs.
and there's no super cheap removal.
Yeah, coming from a M14 where white was just flatly unplayable outside of like pacifism and a few removal spells, all of its creatures were garbage.
Yeah.
In this one, everything is pretty level. Like green and black seem like they might have a slight edge on everybody, but it's not game defining by any means.
But even blue is quite aggressive for blue.
Yeah.
Blue looks like the best splash color in my opinion.
Yeah, it's got a lot of really good support cards.
Cone of Flame, just saying.
That
So
one is
good.
hands down bonkers.
But anyway, so yeah, also like you'll notice a lot of the CMC, depending on what the mana cost is of them, they also vary for your bombs, right? Like,
Right.
you'll probably be tapping out later in the game for your removal to keep swinging with your little guys, rather than tapping out a little bit to keep killing things and swing with your big guys. So,
right.
which helps with the speed of the format.
So then once you get to the event, again, we've kind of mentioned some of this stuff before, but it's important to touch on, and we're all constantly growing and changing as players, and so I feel like when you hear something for another time, it all works out. But anyways, you want to just open all your cards really quick, get all the trash out of your way, and then begin to sort your cards. Probably the most sense that I've ever seen as far as sorting a sealed pool is make a Wooburg line, or like a white, blue, black, red, green multicolor artifacts line of cards. And then once you've sorted all of your cards into each one of those piles, then go through each pile and take like your sweet rares, your bombs, your great removal, and that kind of goes in a top pile. And then there's like your role players, just like your bears, your 2/2s for 3 mana with maybe an ability, or like your 3 mana 2/3, like just your guys that are
efficient
gonna be in
creatures.
the deck,
Right.
or like maybe your slow like 5 mana removal. Like these all go in pile number 2, and then like your sideboard cards and your kind of crappy cards go in pile number 3. And so you have going across, you have your different colors, and then in the rows vertically you have your different piles. And right away you're going to see that some of these colors are going to stand out as having like maybe a fat stack in one of the top piles, and maybe one of your other colors is going to have a fat stack in like the bottom, like it's just all unplayable, or
Right.
just not many cards in that color. That happens sometimes too.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you have any shortcuts though for figuring out which cards are unplayable, or is it just experience?
it's experience.
Mostly it is experience.
practice.
You've got some few
Because-
cards that just seem underpowered, like 1/1s for 1 mana. Those are almost universally
If
unplayable.
I had $1 for every fugitive wizard I ran over on the pre-release weekend,
Right.
yeah.
That's one of the reasons I brought up
I could have paid for the
Ornithopter.
pre-release.
Because to a new guy, he looks at it and says, "Hey, this is 0. I could throw this down on my first turn and not even spend anything."
Right.
But it's a trap. So that's what I'm saying is, how many times? Do
As
you
soon as
have
I
to-
land a bear, I just attack through and I don't lose my guy. So, yeah.
Anyway,
And so, it's good to also eliminate hopefully your bad color. If you have 1 or 2 colors that just seem like they just don't have the support to help out. And then try to look for your primary color after that. Frequently you'll have a color that just seems like it has it isn't even always necessarily the color that has the most bombs in it. Frequently it's the color that
Most
has
support.
the biggest number 2 pile, right?
The
The
support.
support
Yeah,
card
yeah.
pile.
Yep.
And then the important step after that is to mana curve or cost sort your primary color, what you feel like is going to be your primary color. And so, all the 1s go in a pile on all the 2s and the 3s and the 4s and so on. And then take what looks like you could be your secondary colors and just kind of lay those cards on top of your cost sort, and you'll see like if it creates a good mana curve or not.
So when you say cost sort, you mean converted mana cost,
Converted
right?
mana cost, yeah.
So
for
on
each color.
turn 1, I can have this guy. On turn 2, I can have this guy, and then so forth and so forth.
And a lot of times when I see people cost sort as well, they'll have all the creatures in sort of an upper pile cost sorted, and then all of the spells in a lower pile.
Because there's not very many times you'll cast a removal spell right on turn 5, right? Sometimes
Right.
you might have to keep it a little bit later.
Or like a
I
lightning
mean, it still
strike.
count within the
type
cost
spell.
curve, but they don't necessarily count.
Yeah, as
within
soon as you
your
narrow down into what you're actually going to be playing, that's
tempo.
probably the best way to do it. Is you scoop all the rest of your garbage that you're not going to be playing off to the side, and then you start your whole.
that means that
Cost sort
that
and
doesn't necessarily mean that's out of the picture, though. In fact, I think it's a good thing to revisit that at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
There's
Yeah.
Multiple times where like I'll play game 1, and I'm like, oh, I saw this. I think I might have had a card that would have dealt with that, and go through my whole list of junk cards I thought I would never play. I'm
Or-
like, oh, look, here's the one card I need to answer that. Cool. Now I'll sleeve this up real quick and put it in my deck.
Yep.
So don't forget about them. Just
Yeah, especially
put 'em aside.
after you're done building your deck, just re-look through everything to make sure, okay, is there anything that I'm missing? Is there anything here that just really pairs up good together and I'm just absolutely brain dead about it?
And also, I really like to take that second and look for cards like Naturalize. Pull those on the top of all of my cards that are in my sideboard.
like
Things that
Solemn
I think
Offering.
Solemn Offering, like these things
Yep.
that could come in definitely out of the sideboard if I'm seeing really powerful specific
Like-
problems that require specific answers.
Like negate sometimes. Except I think negate's good anyway to be main board because everybody plays removal spells in limited. In
I
draft constructed, it's a little bit
I
different.
disagree slightly. Like, if you need that last slot, then yeah, it's a great one to put in because it's almost never dead. But if there's a lot of times I feel like they're just not having enough powerful threats for you to sit on it for that long
I
and
don't-
keep up your mana for that long, unless you're specifically a deck that's stalling out to
You're
late
gonna
game.
get to a point though where they're gonna end up having to deal with your stuff, and so like you're able to just anyway. I digress, but
Yeah,
point
I
is
mean, if you
being,
can
like,
land 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop,
and
you
then
could probably
the
just sit on your negate for a
yeah,
while after
like,
that.
That's what I did. Like I
Right.
played both mine main board, and it won me a lot of games, just the negates themselves. But not the point.
Right.
And that obviously wouldn't count too much in your curve. But remember that in sealed, like all of Magic, every color combination has like things that they're always going to kind of do, right? I mean, blue-white's going to be a lot of flyers. White-black's going to be a lot of life gain and sacrificing creature type effects. Blue-black is going to be a little bit control.
And actually, these that we're going over seem to be the archetypes that are showing themselves in actual M15.
Right.
So it's nice if, like, as you're drafting, especially, which I know we're not talking necessarily about drafts, but it's nice if you go, well, I have blue-black, and so I know I'm going to be more of a controlling deck. So if it's a choice between, like, a fast black creature and a removal spell, like, that helps guide your decisions, right? And so anyways, I just, we're looking at the spoiler earlier and trying to understand, and that's actually another really good thing you can do too, is to look at the spoiler and try to understand what each 2-color pair is trying to do, because then that will help guide your tie breaks. When you're looking for card number 21, 22, 23 in your pile, if you can find cards that are in line with what your deck's trying to accomplish, then you're going to have a lot more synergistic type deck. So,
Right.
Sorry. Anyways, you're saying blue black was control.
Blue black is control. Like currently in M15, blue red is a lot of artifact type theme stuff, but it's
Right.
also very tempo, drawing cards, removing things, burn spells, stuff like that. Black red here is actually sacrificing in currently in M15, but
Right.
black red is usually a lot of like kill spells, burn, fast aggressive type creatures.
Yeah.
We got black green, which is rock, I guess.
Yeah.
Usually just sturdy creatures. I know that M15 has actually got a graveyard theme to it.
Yes.
With the guys that come into play and you exile creatures to the graveyards and gain life, and there's a couple of different reanimating type spells. Red white aggro. This one has an enchantment theme here in M15 where you can suit up some guys with enchantments.
So if you loved playing like Theros style Magic, where you just suit up a guy, make a battle cruiser, and smash your opponent, red white might be a direction to look.
and it's actually somewhat life gain intensive.
A
It
little
can
bit,
be, yeah.
yeah. But unlike Theros, this is not going to be as safe because with
Right,
the
right.
Bestow guys before, these enchantments still fall off, unfortunately.
But yeah, and then also there's green white, which is pretty green white in this set seems like it's kind of wide, like lots of creatures and just kind of like sturdy guys in general.
And it's where
a lot of
Convoke lives the most, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Convoke is in every color, but it is definitely for the most part, into the green white.
Right. And green blue is a lot of like entering the battlefield effects. This is like your roaring Primadux and stuff like that. Things bouncing things back to your hand to recast them to get extra value over and over and over again. So
Oh yeah, that was huge. That's actually what I ended up playing for the pre-release.
Oh, yeah? Green,
Yeah.
blue, get value?
Yeah, I copied a lot of Hornet Queens.
that's crazy.
That is so dirty,
that
man.
was so dirty.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Sorry. So we just wanted to talk really just briefly about some of the specific synergy-driven cards that are in M15 that are in your commons and uncommons. Not too long ago, Rich had some folks ask him personally, some of his friends that listen to the podcast or whatever, like, hey, when are you guys going to like do the review show for your commons and uncommons? And he kind of laughed like, that's really funny. And then they just sort of kept staring at him like, no, for real,
No, we
when is
mean
that
it.
happening? And like we are not a show that is focused on limited as much. Limited Resources does an absolutely fantastic
Absolutely.
Marshall Sutcliffe
review
and
for the
Brian Wong.
Brian Wong, yeah. For the commons and uncommons, and we just don't
5.5
feel like
hours.
it is 5.5 hours. Yeah, and that's one of the big things that's kind of prohibitive about it is that it would be a very intense amount of time. But this is kind of like a very light version of some of the cool like synergy driven cards. And I do think that in sealed you should err towards just powerful cards. But as you're filling in the end of your deck, if you find some cool cards that go with the synergy, then definitely you can include those. So as far as the artifact theme is concerned for red blue, we got the angry scissors, as it was called.
And
Oh,
Soul
is that,
Artifact.
oh, is that not the one we're doing?
Oh yeah, let's go through the
Oh,
route.
I was going to try to
So
put
there's
some
like
on here
Aeronaut
then.
Tinkerer, which
Yep.
is a common guy. He's 3 mana for 2/3, which is pretty typical for a creature. But the cool
Yeah.
thing is, if you're an artifact, he has flying. Now he has evasion, which is always better. Usually to have evasion, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now here's a good reason. Maybe here's why you'd have your ornithopter. I don't know.
This is not enough to play an
That's how
Ornithopter.
Reaper is getting, or not Beware the Wumpus. Talking about it. Benefit of having an ornithopter is because it has flying, you can pump it, right? Like if you have an equipment or enchantment you can throw on it, then it becomes like a lively creature and is worth.
Well, and this
it.
guy's
But-
kind of standing with like an ornithopter type creature
Yeah,
in the
that's
background.
true. You kind of can't see that in the background.
Maybe he's hinting.
That's a powered ornithopter. Look
Yeah.
at that thing.
It looks very space.
Yeah, I'm
very-
kind of stoked
yeah.
by that art. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, a 2/3 for 2 is already very playable. Most decks are going to want that anyways. But if you know that you have a lot of artifacts in your deck, that's a great inclusion.
Yeah.
Another one is, of course, Shrapnel Blast.
Yeah. Let me just put that right here.
1 red, 1 colorless, instant speed. As an additional cost to cast Shrapnel Blast, sacrifice an artifact. Shrapnel Blast does 5 damage to target creature or player.
Here's another
Right.
good use for your ornithopter. Sacrifice it.
Which
Just
is
kidding.
nothing to scoff at. 5
Or
damage
your-
for 2 mana.
But here's
That's
what I
so
want to
hard
do
to
with
come
this.
by.
I really want to use my
Angry Scissors.
the
Oh.
Goblin Kaboomus to make,
Oh, right.
to make a bunch of artifact landmines.
So I found out
Sacchalane.
actually on a judge question on Friday that Kaboomus, you have to flip the coin when you make the mine,
Yes.
not when you blow it up.
That's
so.
not what it says.
It
Yes, when you
does.
make
the-
I
It does.
reread it afterwards and I felt
Yeah.
dumb about that. So sorry, podcast land.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Well, that's no fun.
Dreams crushed.
Man.
But yeah, like the thing is, you got like Darksteel Citadel in this.
I'll still do it
You've got a
anyway.
lot. There's
I don't
actually
care.
a lot of equipment.
Yep.
There's the helm
al-
of whatever that taps down things.
Yeah, there's also like all the different staffs, which I don't know if the staffs are really that good. Again, they're just life gain. But if you
Yeah.
have a synergy with artifacts, I could definitely
Might
see
as
putting
well,
them in.
right?
Yeah. Install Artifact is also pretty exciting. I can actually almost see Mono Blue and Constructed wanting this.
Oops. What did I
One
do that
colorless,
for?
one blue, enchantment aura, enchant artifact. Enchanted artifact is a creature with base power and toughness 5/5 in addition
I'm
to its
trying
other
to-
types. Angry Scissors. So
Oh,
basically, you're able
first
to
way
like
to
make
find it.
your Ornithopter a
I know, this is
5/5.
totally
So if you got
professional,
multiple of these, then you are absolutely golden to
Golly.
just enchant that Ornithopter
Right.
because 5/5 with flying
Or your indestructible Darksteel Citadel.
or your
Ooh.
indestructible Darksteel.
I'm
Citadel.
trying to get there. Here we go. All right. I know this is totally professional, but that's okay. All right. So there's this. There's the Angry Scissors.
So we also mentioned that Black Red had a little bit of a sacrifice theme to it. Blood Host is another great example of that guy. He's a black 3 for a 3/3 creature, which is not that impressive. But for 1 and a black, you can sacrifice another creature, put a 1/1 counter on Blood Host, and gain 2 life. So this actually also slots just fine into the black-white deck that has a lot of life gain
Or
abilities
black
as well.
green, too,
Or-
to an extent, because you can reanimate.
Right,
them.
because you can reanimate stuff. Like there just are a lot of different uses that you can have for different
Well,
guys.
and one of the benefits of playing things like this that make you sacrifice your own creatures actually is a lot of times people will be running removal for your bombs, right? Well, if
Correct.
they go to remove your guy, might as well get some value out of it.
Yeah, make your guy bigger.
Sacrifice him in response to them trying to kill it and just gain extra life or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, instead of just... what would you choose? Having your guy removed or getting a +1/+1 counter and gaining 2 life and having your guy removed? Seems pretty good. As far as the enchantment theme was concerned with red-white, we have Brood Keeper. So she's a red 3 for a 2/3 creature. So kind of not great as far as power toughness versus mana cost. However, whenever you enchant her, put a 2/2 red dragon creature onto the battlefield that has fire breathing. So it's like pay red mana to pump its toughness. And so if you just enchant this one time,
Then you get a free dragon whelp.
you get a free dragon, and like that to me just seems like so much value.
With fire breathing.
Yeah. I mean, it
and
has
invasion.
which
Oh
is a
my
mana
gosh.
sink, which is very important to have in sealed, right?
Yep.
Something to do because a lot of times games go long and you can kind of flood out. So this is a specific.
Well, they got
M15
the
guy. It's
enchantment.
pretty
It's
cool.
like 1 red, 1 colorless. It gives the guy +2/+0, and you can pay a red and sacrifice it to shock something.
Right.
Right, like value.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's also the cycle. Actually, Marshall Sutcliffe did a really awesome article about this. So you might have noticed last year in M14 they had the guys that say, as long as you control a swamp, do whatever, an island, do whatever.
The Curd Ape cycle, yes.
The
This
Curd
is-
Ape type cycle, right?
In essence, this is a gold card. Let's say.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
definitely better when you're playing with those 2 colors.
They
for
don't
sure.
normally do gold cards in core
Well,
set.
that's what I'm saying. It's,
right.
But that's in essence what this is, because that's
Yeah.
what to get the best value out
This
of
is
this.
their way of cheating it in without
Right.
making a Garrick.
Right.
Or
they have,
so.
like for instance, like Dauntless River Marshal is a 1 colorless, 1 white for a 2/1 human soldier, but he gets +1/+1 as long as you control an island, and he has the ability, 3 colorless and a blue tap target creature.
Yep.
Super sweet guys like this. Like there's the green white one that gives your whole team +1/+1.
Right.
There's the wow, what was the other one?
There's a red-green ape guy.
red green ape guy that just gets bigger. There's the red black guy that just does 2 damage to something
Right.
for 5
The
mana.
blue base black.
Oh, the blue-black guy, yeah.
Yeah,
Gives the guy life
He's
link.
like a 2/4 blocker, and then he gives any guy life link. He is house.
Yeah, and there's also I can't remember what the green black one does. I think I can't
Not
remember
green
right
black.
now.
Those aren't
No,
friendly.
yeah. Friendly colors, huh?
Black,
No, I think we hit them all. then.
red.
We did that.
Okay. Then yeah, that's it.
So there's a cycle that asks you to play with friendly colors, and there's some uncommons that reward you for that. Another neat card is an oxymoron, military intelligence. That's
Okay.
frequently cited as an
Black
oxymoron.
blue. Was it black blue? Anyway. All right. Well, we
Anyways,
can keep going.
It's 1 in a blue for an enchantment that says whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, draw a card.
yes.
I had somebody that would just landed this on me, and every time they would even just attack creatures in a way that was kind of bad for them, but they just kept drawing cards, so they would just play more creatures
Didn't
anyways.
matter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like
Chasm Skulker.
yeah. This is also like a 2-mana Thassa's Bident, you know?
Right. By the
That-
Thassa.
Yeah. So this guy seems very powerful. I was very impressed when I played against this
Well,
card.
the thing is, they don't have to deal combat damage. You just draw the cards. Like, this helps your engine,
Right.
right? Like, you net some card advantage.
Right.
There's another cycle, isn't there, right now?
The Paragon
The
cycle.
Paragon cycle.
So Paragons ask you to play where the other cycle asks you to play with multiple colors. Paragons ask that you play monocolored only. So mono green, for this particular Paragon, he's the Paragon of Eternal Wilds, green and a 3 for a 2/2. Other green creatures you control get +1/+1, and then you can pay green and tap him, and another green creature you control gains trample until the end of turn. So each one of these also gives one of your creatures an ability
I'm
that
sorry.
your guys would control.
I have to interrupt here. Military intelligence. Wow, draw a card with ornithopters.
You double Ornithopter and then boom, draw
That
cards.
fixes it, I guess.
Oh man, we're just proving that
You're recouping the lost
Of
card
terrible
advantage of
cards.
playing Ornithopter.
Sorry, keep going. Anyway,
But
Paragons.
So these Paragon cycle, they make you want to play monocolored, as
Right.
you had just said. Traditionally, is this a good idea?
Well, so traditionally in Sealed, it's going to be really hard to play monocolor.
Absolutely.
But it is a great guide card for draft. Like if you open this early in a draft, you could kind of draft around that and be like, oh, I'm going to be maybe the mono green or mono blue deck this time.
Even then, you don't really want to be a monocolored. You want to be based in that colored.
Okay, sure, yeah.
But you're giving up so many other potentially good spells that you could splash into this mono green shell that could just make your deck stronger.
Worst case, he pumps half your team and gives them trample. That's not
preferably
too bad.
that he makes you want to draft closer to whatever color you get, but you almost never want to draw
See, personally,
monocolored. That is actually one of the stigmas that has been instilled on me at such a short time that you probably want to just steer away from.
Huh, cool.
I personally don't like the Paragons.
Really?
I had the black
everybody's
one.
Turn 4 Paragon kid's too tiny. It's gonna get killed.
I had
Rawr.
the black one
So-
and with Death Touch, and it just
That's
held,
okay.
It held everything off. Nobody wanted to attack.
There again, some of the Paragons are actually really, really worth it, but I don't feel like every single one of them is.
Yeah.
Like 4 mana for
Agreed.
2/2 is
Well,
kind of
Green already brings the beef, right?
But if you're already playing an aggressive deck, you want turn 1 guy, turn 2 guy, turn 3 guy, turn 4 this. That's actually pretty
That's
solid.
not bad. If you're
so.
Yeah.
on an aggressive output, then
There are
he is
some
actually
times
really
though.
good.
I'm always looking for a good way to give something trample, and this works. I don't know. It might be just too expensive though.
The last card is there's a subtle wall/defender theme in the set.
Siege.
Wall of Mulch. It's 1 and a green for a 0/4 wall with defender, and then it says pay a green, sacrifice a wall to draw a card. So red has Wall of Fire at common, and then there's also a blue common wall as well.
There's a white one that whenever it
And that's
it's dealt
uncommon, unfortunately, but
damage, you gain life equal to damage dealt to it.
But I could just see now this is not really again relevant for Sealed as much, but I could just see a draft just taking walls early and just going off with walls, and then some fatty at the end would be hilarious. And then of course you're gonna get paired up
Well,
against
there's
the guy who has a
there's
siege
that Wall of
siege
Ice
dragon.
07.
Wall of Frost.
Yeah.
Wall of Frost.
He's a tool.
Man, that thing
Get
is
reprinted means we have to deal with that with Finax even more.
Anyways, so these are just again some of the different cards that we saw that have some subtle, cool interactions within this set.
They should have printed one of those enchantments that makes it so walls can attack as if they don't have. And then print Door in the Siege Tower. I will play that deck.
I like where this is going.
Modern, it's happening. Just kidding.
I'm playing Doran Walls. What? Yeah, man, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Put the door in the walls.
A block gold do. Anyway, so the cool thing though with the walls is it actually kind of helps you block the early, stem the tide of bleeding and go into your late game, as you were saying. So there's actually some relevance to having it. But yeah, there's a lot of different synergies in these in M15 and in every single sealed environment.
Right. So looking for these different synergies is really fun.
Yeah, and that's also where paying attention to spoilers and things helps, right? Because you're able to go, oh, there's a really strong constellation theme here, or a really strong artifact theme, or creature theme, or whatever wall theme. You know what I mean? You're able to kind of know that's going to be something that a lot of other people are going to be playing, because you could totally, like, if you just go sit down, like, to build your sealed pool for the first time ever and you haven't seen the cards before, you may not pull, you know, all of these different types of synergistic cards, and so you won't see that they're actually going to be something you might be playing against as well. So it just helps you kind of know, like, how other people's decks are going to be played out, right?
Yep, for sure. So then another question that we've had a lot, in fact, I think we're going to probably spend a whole episode here in the next few weeks, is all about mana. How do you figure out your mana for your sealed deck? Frequently, anywhere from 16 to 18 lands is the right number. I hate decks with 16 mana.
Agreed.
I always feel really nervous running 16 mana.
I love it. So
Right.
what does that tell you?
I will almost always play 17 and sometimes 18. So, anyways, but when you're going to figure out your mana, a good place to start is to just count all your mana pips. So we've been good now at determining what our devotion to certain colors is.
What is a mana pip?
So like all your actual mana symbols. So
Pip, pip,
Your
cheerio.
devotion.
yes. So just count your total dex devotion to each color, essentially, and create a basic ratio. So like a numbers that I come out with pretty frequently in my decks is like maybe I'll have 16 red pips and 26 green pips. And so that's roughly like a 2-to-3 ratio or a 40-60 split. And so, but that's not the only number that should guide your mana. You should also look closely and see, you know, okay, if part of my green creatures is Elvish Mystic, like I really want to hit that on turn 1. So that makes me want to play maybe more forests than I normally would. Luckily, we're in a deck that already is heavy on green, so that's going to be an easy thing to do. But what happens if you have a red 1 guy that has 2 reds and he's only 3 cast? Like that's going to be a lot harder to hit the double red.
Right. Krenko's
right
Enforcer
on.
is probably the one you're talking about
Yep.
here.
Krenko's Enforcer is a perfect example of that kind of a creature. Now he's powerful. I still think he's probably going to be worth the inclusion in your deck because he does have Intimidate. But hitting a 3-drop that has double mana symbols is a lot different than hitting, say, a 6-drop that has double mana symbols like any of the souls. So once you've taken all that in consideration, I think for a deck that included all of these cards that I mentioned, with that kind of a split, I think I'd probably be on like a 10-7 split in favor of green. And a lot of decks really do end up being like 9-8 or 10-7 pretty much across the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
like 5-6-6. Because I can't stop myself from playing 3 colors.
right
I
now,
just
when
can't.
you go to play 3 colors, that gets a lot more complicated,
you're
and
a
we're just
bad
gonna
person.
say,
Don't
stay
be a bad
tuned
Magic player like me.
and hang out for our eventual lands episode because we'll get into how to splash and why dual lands are good and all that other jazz.
Right.
So anyways, I don't know. Does anybody else have anything interesting to say about kind of just how we tackle sealed pools, or should we start opening up some of these sealed pools and just jumping into it?
But yeah, just going back to the what
Figuring
was
mana?
the acronym that we used last
Oh,
episode?
bread.
Bread, bombs, removal, efficient, aggro, dregs.
So that's a pretty good spot to start at, but just as important, as soon as you hit like that midway point, it's pretty important to stay away from that as well, because that'll get you to your starting point. But then you need to realize, okay, not all these bombs are actually all that great, and not all of these removal and whatnot.
Yeah, they've actually really changed how good removal is. Back Magic Design maybe 4 years ago, all the removal was stuff like Doomblade. 2 mana, remove
Well,
a
now
guy.
we have the 5 mana cost.
And now, like, so much of the removal in limited formats is like 5 mana removal, and anything that's that
Or
efficient is
do
going to be an
something
uncommon.
terrible.
Right,
you know.
that's gonna go to more of guidelines, and you're gonna want to go more off of feeling rather than just.
Well, yeah, and I was just saying, just remember your bread, but
Yeah,
right.
starting out,
Yes.
that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
And before we move on to opening packs, I am on tilt really bad. I'm tilting off really, really horribly, and I'm feeling terrible. I just wanted to say that I actually do appreciate the service that our military friends do. My dad was in the Navy, and it's a joke that he makes all the time because he worked in IT department. So anyways, I didn't mean that with a mean spirit, and I'm just on tilt really bad about that. So
Because you put the whole room
feeling
went
like
quiet.
a jerk.
Say, like,
I'm like, right, guys? And we
Damon's
just kind of
kinda
stared at me. I'm
an
like,
acc- Damon is quite frequently an accidental douche.
yeah.
Not on purpose, but accidentally.
I
kind
don't mean to be a dick, but sometimes I just kind of am.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm an oxymormon, so.
So, anyways, I don't know. From here, we get to pop some packs. So, for you guys who are in TV land, we're actually going to open some packs and talk about some things that would guide our draft, right? Or guide our sealed pool.
Yeah.
Yes, and then for those of you in podcast land, we're probably just going to skip to the good stuff and just do. Whatever.
All right, so let's
Just
go to
be a
the.
second.
So we go into the overhead cam. Ba-boom.
We gonna do this one on one or one at a time, or
I actually think that we should just both open our packs at the same time and start to do what it is that we
You know,
need.
part of the problem, I'm a little worried about that background.
separation?
Why don't you
Oh,
grab?
do we need the gray?
I'd bring the gray up because otherwise it's gonna be hard to see the cards.
Not the MTGYou Fight Club board.
Yeah, the MTGYou fight.
Just
It's
kidding.
a neutral gray, so it'll make seeing the cards a lot easier.
Is that centered?
This is
That's good enough. Like
this is good television.
And you may be wondering, hey, how did these guys get some sweet booster packs?
Look,
well,
look,
we were
look, look.
smart. And we saved our prizes.
That's right.
So now,
black, green, blue, white.
it's true.
Sorry.
So now we have some stuff to do a day before it comes out. It's so exciting.
Saved it
I
specifically
want
for
to
you
open
guys.
packs. Screw you guys.
Yeah. Rich, you should help me open some packs.
Open packs. We actually might be a little excited too if we get something cool. Whoa!
Oh my gosh.
We got a Chasm Skulker on
So
our
you'll
side.
actually be able to see how I do my drafting. Get rid of that. Get that out of here.
What was it?
I'm shy one ornithopter at this point in my drafts pool.
Where did it go?
He shot it off the table.
Oh my gosh! Look,
Threw it.
he opened up.
He popped a Jace.
Oh my gosh!
I popped a Jace while popping my Jace.
I'm gonna go pick up that ornithopter. I feel really bad for it.
You should just play blue-red, Damon. Just kidding.
There's an ornithopter.
So, it's like good sideboard cards.
I don't know. I think you should main deck that.
No. Do we want to prove a point and main deck that? Is that what
No.
you're trying to say?
No, I'm just saying keep it in
Looks
your
like
seal
I'm going
pool.
blue red.
What the dude? What the heck?
Infinite value on these packs.
Oh my gosh!
That's crazy.
A Chandra and a Jace, and oh.
Well, it looks like
All right, so we don't even need to play the games. No, just kidding.
actually. Oh, it depends if you got anything else that's good.
So
My short little arms can't reach.
here,
I got a Dungrove Elder.
please, everybody, open your
Sweet.
packs, and I'll come around and collect your garbage.
Can I have this?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I need one.
What is it?
It's the Tree Folk Warrior token.
Oh,
I need
cool.
it for my soon-to-be Tree Folk EDH.
Hey, we need to adjust this so that we can see the whole board.
Oh.
Here, let's bring this over.
So
a
you're
little
saying,
bit.
Rich, move your booty.
Yeah, you can back up a little bit if you want, Rich.
He does it in such a polite way. How can you possibly be mad? Should we just mix all the piles together and just make the best deck ever? Or I'm just kidding. That's defeating the purpose.
Now, did we go too far, or is it still... Oh, okay, no, that's fine.
So you got a
I
little
can
bit of
actually move the camera the other way a little bit.
So far, Blades is
Pretty heavily
red. Blue looks... Well, his blue looks eh. His red looks
yeah,
pretty
it's-
solid.
Oh, that jumped it quite a bit, though.
Bring it this way so that he has a little bit more space.
I don't know how to help you guys, but I think you're both... okay, so just for my personal input, I think blue-red is the best out of the M15.
Alrighty, so now we're gonna go through and I'm gonna grab the cards that Rich grabbed out and finish sorting my stuff.
Talk into the mic. How many heat rays did you get? That's crazy. Oh, this is so good. Blast Firebolt. It's amazing. Oh, look at Ornithopters. So maybe you can play blue, red artifact like everybody's saying you should. So your green's crappy.
So you put down turn 1, draw 2 ornithopters, put them down, attack. Wait, you don't have the military intelligence out yet, darn it. How much is military intelligence? Is it one?
It's
in
a
blue?
2-drop. It's 1 in a blue. Yeah.
So turn 2, military intelligence, attack.
He
with
was
both.
just moving the camera around. That's why it was earthquake cam.
Yeah.
He's done moving it now, though.
Yeah.
I never understood the whole point with playing the 1/1 Death Touch guys. I get it. They're great. They're awesome. They're cool. I just am not a huge fan of it myself.
I have triple Soul Menders and a Tireless Missionaries.
Well, I think you should.
So in white, I only have Return to Ranks, Oppressive Rays, ×2, a Resco Swiftclaw, and Triplicate Spirits. Like, these are not very many cards that are asking me to play white.
I think you're gonna play blue-red. Just saying.
Probably. And then with me, I'm starting with.
Okay, so you're separating him into the 3 piles like we talked about, Damon.
That's terrible.
Yep, I sure am.
So the ones at the top would be the ones that you would.
that would draw me into the color.
Okay.
Well, so here's the deal, Rich. I opened a Grind Clock. So if
Right.
I had multiple Mind Sculpts, then it might be a thing.
Don't play. You only have one Mind Sculpt. Don't play Bad
Okay.
Magic. I think you're gonna play blue-red. I think Blades might be doing that too. We'll
I don't
see.
think that Blades has a choice.
I don't think so either. So
Wow, so my blue is actually all gas.
And so's your red.
Well,
Like,
let's just
literally my entire blue I just want to put on the top pile.
really.
Just about.
It's
Let's
all solid. Like flip through it real quick.
Let's see. So Pill from Reality is great. Quickling, Chemister, Welcome Turn is great.
This
Great.
guy. Oh,
Double Links.
You play green and blue.
You have
Where'd he
double
go?
links in there too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
He has 3 links, I think.
So this guy is a medium pile.
That guy. No, this guy's house. 6 mana for a 5/5 trample. Because you're gonna have a mountain. Because you're gonna be playing red. Just trust me.
Okay.
If you're playing red, he's really good.
He's
if not,
his
he's
house.
just
He's like playing.
Okay, so Divination is a medium pile card. I
Mhm.
guess.
yeah.
Let's see what Blades has got. He's being quiet.
I got a lot of moderate stuff in black and green.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's a O-ring. That's terrible. That's house. Pillar of Light's amazing. 2 Jonas Perfect.
Throwing bows 32 says tell Blades that his opens are too bad to play limited. He just needs to stick with constructed.
Probably yes.
So I actually kind of think that you could play life. Gain
Also, he
with
needs
that
to speak
deck.
into the microphone.
Yes.
So here's the deal, guys. I feel like Burning Anger is really bad. It's repeatable damage though.
And you could do it to a player.
Yeah.
Your black sucks.
I feel like I don't think I want Lava Axe though.
He's cute. Good. Can be good. What? That's house. Can't be blocked this turn. Ulu's. Oh, this guy. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Can't be Blades without counter spells. Oh, look, he got the insult artifact that you didn't get. You got some pretty strong blue. I think your white's more strong, though. I think you should go white-red.
But he pulled a Jace.
Jace is kind of...
He's not as good in this sealed format.
I mean, he sets up your draws, which is okay.
Is this all of my black?
See, like, me personally,
Hey.
I like to be more aggressive.
Is this all of my black?
Yeah. It's
So my black
terrible.
is bad too.
It's way bad.
So really, I honestly, the only thing that's up for question.
Is blue-red.
I mean, Necrogen Scuttler is good. Leeching Sliver is good if I'm aggressive. Crippling Blight is fine.
Stop. No, just play blue-red.
I'm just giving each color its fair shake.
That's right. I mean, we do need to look at it. I mean, you know, it's
So basically, where I'm at
We're
is that
trying
I
to-
have one black card, Necrogen Scuttler, that I would put as a top pile card, and the rest of my black is really just middle pile cards. Almost half of my red is either top pile or middle pile,
What are you
and
doing?
all of my blue is. I would consider
No,
Divination
Divin-
solidly a middle card pile.
divination. Is,
Chasm Skulker.
Okay, I understand that.
So help me, I
Okay.
will
But
punch
that's
you.
still playing a moderate card for a really good card.
They can't see my face.
What
Okay.
what I
The
am,
irony on my face
Okay.
is satire.
and I'm just trying to
irony
say, the
and satire.
individual power level of divination
It's kind of
is a medium power level card.
Right.
It's fine. It's a role player, but it's not like a top
Yeah,
level card.
it's
So
you notice it's not on the bottom. Bottom would be where you'd put the cards that are probably, even though they're in that color, are cards you would not want.
oh,
to
just
play.
kidding. I have 2 blue cards that are bad. So invisibility, I don't feel like is necessarily the kind of deck that I want to be building. And Mind Sculpt also.
Yeah, every time I saw invisibility in my sealed pool, I honestly just kind of pitched it to Rummaging Goblin. It did win me one game though, so
Would you guys ever take a crack at a 3-color deck?
I always do.
Evolving Winds.
Yeah, I do have Evolving Wilds in here. So
Oh, Wilds. I'm sorry. I always call it, me and names.
yeah, no worries.
You would want multiple Evolving Wilds, I think, to make it to work.
Well,
Eventually you will want to splash for like 2 cards or something. That's fully reasonable, especially with an Evolving Wilds. But normally you want to try and stay away from it, I feel like.
I play it.
if I had a big problem with lack of removal, that is the biggest reason why I will usually splash, is to get removal from another color. But I have 3 Heat Rays and 2
And a Soul of Chandelar.
So how much?
and Double Encrust.
Let me ask.
Yeah, you're fine, dude.
Yeah.
How much removal do you typically look for to have in
I
a
run
deck?
try to get as much as possible.
Controlling
But
decks,
what
I
does
feel
that
like
mean?
yeah, controlling decks usually will run up to like 7ish. Is like what I consider like
Say around
the
8.
entry level for controlling style deck is going to be probably 8 pieces of removal. I like to have a minimum of like 4 to 5 pieces of removal.
Okay, minimum, even in an aggressive deck.
Yeah, because then it gets guys out of the way and your people can keep attacking through.
All
So
right.
I'm going to go ahead and clear off probably all of my other colors except for blue and red at this point.
Okay.
And then as far as artifact goes, the Tyrant's Machine, I
Talking
feel like
it.
that's probably just a little bit too much to tap a creature. 4 mana to tap a creature.
I got killed really, really bad by that card. I honestly strongly suggest
It's
it.
really good.
I'm not fond of it.
Okay.
It's in my mind, it's too much to just get rid of one guy. I can see it being sideboard worthy if one thing's really just on your day, but for the most part, it's just not there.
So if I were to come across a deck with a sealed pool that had lots and lots of flyers, I do have 2 plummet in green, and so I might put in a forest and keep my Evolving Wilds in the deck and splash for the 2 plummets.
You bring in 2 forests if you're going to do that. And
Okay.
Just, you can bring them in from your sideboard anyway.
TJ Max 77 says Heat Ray your own Hornet Nest feels so good.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, that's
you know,
hilarious.
Well, that's the type of thing I was
Blasphemous
talking
act.
about when we were talking about Hornet's Nest before. Is it sort of feels a little bit like a Boros Reckoner to me.
You want it to have damage hit him
Yeah.
in
Just
that aspect.
like there's something you get this huge effect out of it if. So yeah.
All right, so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and mana curve out my blue cards.
Okay. Blades, what have you decided on? Are you still thinking?
I can't decide if my white or my blue is better. Think I might be leaning more towards my white because I think it might be more
I
have more
agree.
synergy.
As your
I think
primary,
your white is
as-
better
For your primary or your secondary?
for
My
his
secondary.
secondary.
Red is obviously my
Okay,
primary.
so red is your primary because you have Chandra.
Chandra, I have the dragon. I have the.
Yeah, I think you go white
How
red.
is that dragon? I mean, to me he seems underwhelming. Is he good in
So-
He's a
season?
4/4 flying for 5, so that alone is good. But
Okay.
the fact that he goes and gets an artifact card from your library, that's like it's just
It's
about
free.
gravy.
Okay.
It's just extra value. Like if he dies, you can go grab he just grabbed 2 bronze stables and put them aside. You can go grab a bronze stable with your hoarding dragon. So when they finally kill it, you get a card out of the deal.
Right. Okay.
So he's just more increment value. Yeah, I was thinking you should go white red to aggro. I don't know why you were going more mid range. I don't know if I'd even run this guy.
Seems pretty good. 4/3 for 4, and that isn't bad.
You could play it with the tap down thing. Just saying, 5 mana
I
to
think
tap
I am
down
actually
2
gonna
guys.
play the tap down thing in this
Yeah.
list just because he's good with the dragon.
5 mana to tap down 2 things. Seems
and
great.
maybe the sables as well because they're aggressive bears.
Wow, that curve.
Throwing blows 32. Even if you're playing 8 removal and only 10 creatures and 5 of some other spell like Burning Anger, red has to be primary most of the time in M15 sealed. It's just too good. There's very few things that aren't good in limited.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt very like red blue the entire time I've seen M15 stuff. It just looks powerful and
Absolutely,
in the
it does.
M15 sealed environment.
Worth
And
playing?
it will be in draft. I think it is, but that's just me. You don't have really a lot of big creatures though. I mean,
Do you think this is a 16-line deck? No, it's totally a 17-line deck. I have 2
No,
6
it's
drops.
16. Because you have divination. You have gas. You're fine. Stop. You're playing Torchfiend's main board?
Yeah, dude, they're 2-1s for 2.
What is wrong with you, child? Let me see this.
No, I think Torch Fiend is fine.
It's I could cut 1 Torch Fiend for this other thingy, but
Let me see it.
okay.
What your other options are?
Damon, Hawaii Coyote's going to bring his decks to show you.
Why aren't you
He
running
says-
this? So good.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. You're playing aggro. This
Okay.
finishes out the game. You just
Sure,
hit
let's
him and
cut
he
a Torch
crashed
Fiend for
there.
that then.
Okay.
That's fine.
I know that somebody in chat was saying Lovax is terrible, but I disagree
he
entirely.
just says, you're just saying that because it's foil. I know
Well,
it.
yeah. So I was making a joke last night. I'm like, I'm gonna just get out foil cards
Although,
and then foil out my draft decks.
so
'Cause you
here's
can proxy out things.
here's a cute
That's
thing
funny.
though. Burning Anger plus Chasm Skulker.
Seems cute.
Yeah.
Is that
Cute. You don't have it like you're
too
big.
cute?
You are running a fast, aggressive style deck,
Yeah. I think this is fine.
and your peel from reality. Did you take out the bounce things back to your hand thing? Where's your blue at? Or did you leave all your blue in?
All the blues going in.
Okay.
This is 23 cards. I'm really happy
Also,
with this.
divination allows you to play one less land. Holmes.
I still am going to be playing 17.
I think that's terrible, but okay.
I have Mana Sinks here. I have Mana Sink here.
If that 17th is your
I have a
Evolving
Mana Sink
Wilds,
here.
then I will agree with you.
and Evolving Wilds is
Okay.
my 17th.
Okay, then I'll agree with you.
And I'm going to go 8-8, you think?
Yeah,
Double blue, double red.
it's pretty sixes. You have more blue than you do red, but red with Soul Chandelar doesn't hurt either. So,
Right.
yeah, you should just go white red enchantments like we were just talking about.
Hey, James, could I get some basic lands?
Sure enough.
No, you can't.
Let's see.
I'm not gonna lie, these spirit tokens are sweet.
So as Blades is finishing up, I just wanted to go over my deck really fast. I did pop another Soul Chandelar. The card is just bananas. My other 6-drop is going to be Glacial Crasher as a way to end the game. I don't know what you're doing with that.
It's a bug.
Okay. It's bugging, so. As far as my other rare creatures go, I have a Mercurial Pretender, which is the clone that can bounce back to your hand, but only copies my guys. However, having an extra Soul of Chandelar or an extra Chasm Skulker seems just fine to me. I have, like I said, the Chasm Skulker. I have double
Or even a
Frostlinks.
Glacial Crasher. Or just, like, if you get to that point where you have 9 mana, you can just keep Frost Linksing things down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually a really funny combo. So I have double Frostlinks. I have Coral Barrier, which is like my one non-aggro card. That actually might be worth cutting for something else, to be honest.
You get a 1/1.
I get a 1/1 that sneaks through
It's
stuff,
it's
maybe.
a 2 cards for 1. It's like Slither Songbirds.
Yeah, it's fine.
And he's a 0. He's a 1/3, so he blocks a lot of the early game stuff
Yeah.
too.
Then I have Quickling, which flies, and I believe bounces something back to my hand. No?
Yeah, see stuff like that. You can get like you can
Yeah,
bounce
so I
back
can
the
bounce back my
Frost
Frostlinks
Links or
and
your
replay
Coral
it.
Barrier and get value again.
Welkin Turn is just a really good aggressive play in this overall aggressive deck. You can get in some early damage. Double Torch Fiend, really just because he's a 2/1 for 2 mana. And then Generator Servant, because one time I played Generator Servant on turn 2, and on turn 4 I played Soul of Chandelar, and I didn't lose that game for sure. And then as far as my spells are concerned, I have Appeal from Reality, which is the bounce spell. I have Double Encrust, which taps something down and doesn't untap. I have a Divination, and I have 3 Heat Rays and a Lava Axe. Heat Ray, of course, is the X in red, deal X damage to target creature. So that is my removal suite. I have a total of 6 pieces of removal, and Lava Axe for reach, and Divination for just getting into my gas. So I feel actually very comfortable about this deck. If I opened this at a pre-release or something, I would feel really confident about it overall. I mean, not 2 planeswalkers confident, but
Looking at you, Blades.
yeah.
I think if Lava Axe is good anywhere, it's definitely in limited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Because
you're-
you know, if you're running it in constructed, you just
are you going 3 colors?
you can only target.
No, I
players.
think I need to choose between the blue and the white, and I think I'm leaning more towards the blue simply because it has more end game stuff. The white is just very slightly more aggressive, but the blue has like these guys that can just make something unblockable out of nowhere at the end of game,
See, and I think that I don't know. I'd play white personally, but
which they're fine. and
That's part of sealed is that it's a decision that
the
comes
two
down.
Welkin turn are pretty important in the decision making, whereas they are 2 flying. They can get through for a bunch of damage. This guy he's subpar in my mind. He's definitely heavier on the mana cost than what I want to be leaning towards, being 3/3 for 6 mana. But the fact that he taps something down actually isn't too horrible.
yeah.
Alrighty, guys. The only question left with my deck is it gonna go all the way? Huh?
Azurius? He's Azurius. Golgari? I don't think have we made that joke on the podcast
I don't think
before?
so.
Are you Azurius? Is it?
Are-
Is it really?
Is it? Are you serious?
See, okay, so right now, throwing bows.
There's a good discussion going back and
And
forth.
Benoit the Wumpus are arguing about the Lava Axe.
Yeah, and it's a good discussion. I mean,
There's
there's plenty of room for.
it goes on the play style. Like I feel like
Yeah.
in an aggressive deck, Lava Axe is good because it can be a finishing out and just kind of put them against the wall a little bit faster. But in a more mid-range deck, Lava Axe gets increasingly worse the higher your curve goes.
Agreed. I actually like it as a singleton.
jeez.
It doesn't do a whole lot, but
It-
it ends the game out
It
of
won me
nowhere.
like 2 or 3 games during.
Guys, I'm
pre-release
feeling like
weekend.
Juggernaut is actually just the choice over the Lava Axe.
Absolutely, it should be.
I hate you.
Yeah,
I love
it is.
Lava
Juggernaut.
Axe.
Is that a artifact?
So yeah, he's a 4 mana 5/3 that has to
Yeah.
attack each turn available and can't be blocked by walls.
yeah.
I think it's terrible. It dies his lightning strikes.
So what's the prize support here?
Oreos.
Yeah, everybody, whoever wins gets to take me to dinner. What
Sounds
can I say?
good. Where do you want to go?
I'm a cheap date. I'll go. We can go with Taco Bell.
Del Taco. Let's do it.
So I'm at 16 creatures total,
Okay.
which leaves me with 7 non-creature spells.
And how much of that is removal?
All of it except for divination.
Okay.
So six
You
removals.
should have 41 and just play Lava Axe. Quit being a noob. Just kidding.
Rich, I love you, but
I think Lava Axe is so much better. Then put this back in, because then you could just tap and Lava Axe per turn.
I think that this is like a. I don't know.
It's
I really
cute.
don't know.
I'm just kidding,
And then
dude.
I think
I'm-
it's
I'm
too cute.
totally kidding.
Okay.
I am at 16 creatures, which is just about good for where you want to be. Traditionally, I try to get like 15 creatures because you just want to keep putting as much pressure on the board as possible. 12 is fine as far as it goes for creatures, but normally 15 is the base level that I like to go for.
Like, you guys can't really see me. So everything I do is like off screen.
You can see half your face here and,
Yeah.
and the other half here.
Yeah, Rich trolling hard like he does.
Here, I can hold that up.
I'm kind of a troll.
So
Oh.
chat really fast while we're hanging out with you guys.
That's
How did
awesome.
y'all's pre-release go? Because I mean, we're not related to the combat stuff, so I guess we'll say what we did. But
That's right.
Yeah, we just went from like podcast, and now we're like Fight Club.
yeah, so hey, we are not going to be battling these decks right now, but if you do stick around, about 10 minutes after we're done, we'll battle these at least once.
Yeah.
I'm just saying though, I also have Jalera, so if we decide this is boring and no fun,
Why don't you guys just fight it once real quick? Just shuffle up.
No. We
we definitely don't have time.
we don't have time. So we're gonna just
Well, wait,
finish
this
up.
isn't all going on the podcast, is it?
No,
No, but it-
Right.
but it's already been anyway. We're going to finish up the
long on the
podcast.
podcast
We're going to
section.
finish up the podcast, and we're going to get into Fight Club. And this is going to be Fight Club.
Faith, you guys know what you guys are doing?
We know what we're doing.
Blinding Faith. He's so good. Huh. Blades isn't playing these. Interesting.
Counterspells where I want to be more of a aggressive deck. Counterspells are more reactive, and that's something that I really don't want to be doing. I don't want to consistently leave up my mana just to do nothing or have my opponent do nothing.
Oh, see, I play him. Actually, I play counterspells more often in my aggressive decks than not, because you go like you spell out your hand in the first 4 turns, and then you just hold up the counterspell until you draw into more gas or whatever, and then you.
I would
start
just
going
rather
again.
be putting more gas onto the battlefield rather than.
But sometimes you're gonna get blown out, and sometimes it's nice to just. protect
Sometimes
your
you're going to be
stuff.
blown out. But
So-
majority of the times you're not.
Blades, tell us a little bit about your deck that you ended up with sort of the same deck as me somehow.
Yeah, somehow. Pretty much my red was just so extremely strong. I have the Thundering Giants. They're pretty good aggressive guys. The Dragon, 4/4 flyer, you can't go wrong. I got so many goblins with the Robblemaster where he just makes
Goblins!
so many different creatures and just starts swinging. This guy where he copies the artifacts, this actually isn't as bad. And with the dragon to go get it, it sort of talked me into getting it. Normally, I wouldn't be fond of playing this, but due to the fact that it's got so much synergy in the deck, it's not as bad as it normally would be. As well as the stable stags. They're more just aggressive creatures just to get in there as quickly as possible. The Welkin turns just flies in and they keep getting in there consistently. Burn is always good in this sort of list. Rummaging Goblin just to help dig me into the later turns. And yeah, just altogether, it seems like a fairly consistent list. I mean, 2 Planeswalkers, you can't go wrong.
So we got a Jace and a Chandra.
Throwing Blows says, what Blaze really just said, I put stuff on the board and I turned them sideways.
With blue, yes. Unfortunately, I did not get any Frost Links. That would make my deck so much better.
Then the Ninja Plumber. This is game 0. We're talking about building a sealed deck. We're going to finish up our podcast stream, and then we're going to get right into playing these 2 decks against each other.
Here's 15.
So
You need more, but I don't know where they are.
Blade or James, do you have a few more? Well, actually,
I
so we
have-
just went through.
I have plenty.
Do we want to go ahead and switch gears and just continue on with the podcast since we've both had a chance to
Sure.
explain our decks?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So let's. Any final words then on?
No, I feel like these sweet prize packs were really sweet.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely made out on these ones.
So are we moving on to our combat phase? Are we done with this? And should we just move
Yeah,
right
do
on?
we?
To our,
Well, I don't know. We could maybe put an ending exclamation point
do.
or a
What-
sum up.
let's do that. What do you want to say?
All right. So to sum up, sealed deck. Really, you just want to look for some great ways to end the game and some role players to go into your deck. Try to isolate what your best cards are. And I think the big thing that a lot of people feel like with sealed is that it's a little bit too random, that it's all up to luck and that you have no control over it, and that's a bad attitude. If you just take what's in your control, which is what you can, you just try to make the best deck you possibly can.
You'd be surprised. How
It's a
far you
lot
can
more,
go.
and it's more constructive. Like, I can't control the 6 packs that I open, but I can control what cards I put in my deck, and I can control the kind of Magic that I play once I actually start playing.
It's more skill intensive, this format, just to get what you get, and then you see what you can build out of it. It takes you out of your comfort level, where I'm mostly into the blue-white control realm. Playing something like this, I'm normally not used to. So all these creatures, what do creatures do?
Right. I was reading an article by Marshall Sutcliffe the other day when he was talking about building a sealed pool, a sealed deck, and he says, and he likened it to just picking the 23 best soldiers out of your, you open up all these cards and say, okay, I'm picking the 23 best of you to go fight, and if you look at it that way, maybe that will help.
It's like-
which one out of all of these cards that I just opened? What 40? How many are in a? How many did you open? 40.
6,
44,
so
whatever.
6 times 15.
15 if you.
It's 75
75
cards.
cards.
So if you're 75,
Oh, 75. That's
you
true.
just need to find 23 that
so
are good.
you say
One
okay,
third.
I'm gonna pick one out of 3 of you, and we're gonna do the best.
It's like picking the best players on the playground. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
for basketball, whatever.
Yeah. We'll take the dog and the kid in the wheelchair, and you can have James. That was how it always was.
I was always picked like second. Anyway, sorry. Anyway,
I was left standing up against the fence while they were playing.
Yeah. Anyway, funny story. Remind me, swimming, playing football.
Okay.
Swim football. Anyway,
that exists. That's awesome.
yeah, we played it on Sunday. Anyway, proceed with podcast.
Yeah, I think we're good to go to the next phase, though.
Okay.
Combat phase.
So, as you know, we just had the pre-release. We've been talking about it. Let's just wrap up in just a little bit how we did. I'll go ahead and start out since I did the worst, I'm pretty sure. I went 1 and 3. I ran a white. I picked white, and I went white-black. And it seemed like everyone else also went white-black, and I just got ran over probably because Xavier helped me build my deck. And so I have to – anyway. So, yeah.
Xavier's a good player. What are you getting at?
I'm just totally kidding.
Just the daggers when he's not here. That's all.
That's funny.
So how did you do, Blades?
I did the midnight pre-release, which was fine. I ended up 3-1. I did random. I did not choose my color. So I was hoping against getting shipped a blue or green pack, since I didn't really like the promos for those, and I ended up getting handed a blue, unfortunately. But I made the best out of it, and I was able to clone multiple Hornet Queens that night, and it was. As far as that went, it was so good, and it was. But as any more than that, I did not want blue as my main color. But you get what you get.
Yeah, especially when you roll a die.
Yeah.
Damon, how about you?
You know, I went to the pre-release with every intention to pick black, and as we were having people ask for what colors they wanted, literally it seemed like everybody there picked black.
Yeah.
And so I figured, black can go relatively aggressive. It can remove a lot of my creatures. It's got that big flyer guy who's angry. So, what color can I pick that could maybe next level this strategy? And so I picked white because it has that big angel that catches up on all of your life. And it just seems like you're behind in the game, and the person thinks they got you on the ropes, and then you just cast it, and you're, suddenly way back into the game again.
Yeah.
So I picked white, and I got all excited because I opened up 3 Mind Sculpts, which in a defensive enough deck, you could maybe mill the person out using Mind Sculpt times 3. And as I was going, I just noticed that I had this crazy aggressive red-white deck that also existed. So I put together the red-white deck. I got the sweet Dragon Lady, who when you enchant her, she makes a dragon. I did that on 2 different occasions. I got 2 copies of the Preeminent Soldier, who puts a soldier into play. And I had
Captain.
Preeminent Captain.
Yeah.
And I had 3 or 4 other soldiers in the deck. So he was able to hit on several occasions, which was pretty sweet. And I had this really fast kind of tempo-oriented deck, and I really didn't know how good aggressive decks were in the format. So I also built, I pulled 5 of the white cards out of that main deck and put them in a secondary blue-white mill deck because I had 2 Resolute Archangel that got you back into the game. I had 2 Soul Menders, which is a terrible card, but he gains you life. I had the Convoke gain 8 life card as well. And then I also
Which is
had
actually quite bad.
Yeah, I know. And then I also had the artifact that every time somebody puts a creature card into the graveyard, you gain a life. So I had all this life gain stuff and reset my life total stuff, and then 3 copies of Mind Sculpt. And so the idea was just put up the fences and gain a bunch of life.
You're playing Pillow Fort.
Yeah, and it worked exactly once. And what I did is I forced myself to play that deck the second game because I wanted to have all the fun in the world. And I dropped game 2, and then I won game 3, and then I got paired up against the person who had the best record in the room for the last round, and he's a really good player, and for me at that point, the more fun thing was actually just playing the good deck and seeing who could win. And he was undefeated going into the last round, and I had one loss, and I beat him. So,
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, total daggers on William Soul.
William Soul.
Yeah. No, that guy's just a phenomenal player. I really like playing against him. So, anyways, I went 3-1, ended up taking second because I toppled the king and got some sweet prize packs that you're seeing here today. And yeah, it just had a really great pre-release experience. You know, normally I play like maybe 4 or 5 pre-releases, and this time around I only played one. And it was like refreshing to not have like a big stressful weekend. So I was kind of bummed I didn't play as many, but I also kind of just dug having a relaxed weekend about it. So
Yeah.
Right on. And Rich.
My weekend was not relaxed. I ended up only working like 36 hours, I think, which isn't bad in comparison to like my boss and stuff who worked more. But worked 36 hours straight. We had a charity at the mall that our shop's at, and so we had like thousands of people there. There was like a biker rally. There was a bunch of different stuff going on, but I ended up playing a midnight pre-release in the 1 p.m. one on Saturday, and the midnight pre-release actually went undefeated and took first. I picked black. A lot of people were picking black. It seemed like we almost ran out of black packs, and I luckily was able to get one of them. And the only thing I actually used out of the whole black pack was the Indulgent Tormentor and a Soul of Innistrad. That was it. I splashed four swamps in my blue-red aggro beats deck for these cards because I pulled a Chasm Skulker, 3 Frost Lynxes, Frost Lynx.
Lynxen? Like oxen.
I just
saw a flock of oxen or whatever.
A flock of oxen.
A flock of moosin.
Moosin.
I can't remember the comedian's name, but anyway, and then I got like I got a lava axe, I got a flames of the
Firebrand?
Cone of Flames.
Oh, Cone of Flame.
Which is just house. I got tons of the guy that the 1 red 1 colorless whenever he attacks gets +2 but +0. So basically, long story short, I played a really, really aggressive deck.
It's too late for long story short. I'm sorry.
I understand. Yeah, that's why I'm resetting. Chasm Skulker with Rummaging Goblins is sweet. Jason's Ingenuity on top of that is also sweet. And then also being able to pitch guys with your Rummaging Goblin and then buy them back with your Soul of Innistrad is even more sweet. I just basically had this really like awesome tempo control list that just kind of tempoed everybody out and just won really efficiently. But the thing is, round 2, I played against a player who was playing green-black, and I overheard that he had beat somebody with Ob Nixilis, but I wasn't 100% sure if I heard correctly. And so we were playing, and I'm like, he's like, okay, end my turn, whatever. And I'm like, at the end of your turn, crack my Evolving Wilds to go like thin out my deck, right? To go find something. Right. And he's like, okay, in response, cord for 6. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm at 9 life. And I look at my hand, I'm like, luckily I have the negate. So he was going to go cord and grab the Ob Nixilis to kill me. And then luckily, though, he had to tap out to do that with his creature, so I was able to just swing back through and kill him the next turn. But, I mean, he had, like, Yissen, Court of Calling, Urborg.
Wow.
The Ob Nixilis. Like,
Just
it was
a
just
stacked
deck. And I was able to, like, beat him out round 2. But, yeah, I went undefeated. Got lots of cool stuff on my prize packs. Round 2, pre-release number 2, I played Bant. It was, like, blue, white, green, like tokens / life gain and just removal, and I kind of did terrible with it. I just didn't do so hot. So but that was my pre-release weekend. It was sweet.
Yeah. Anything else going on in your lives as far as gaming and or combat phase goes? I drafted again on Hex. Actually won 1 game.
Nice.
Yeah. So getting a little better at that.
I decided this week randomly to jump back into Hearthstone, and
Brian Kibler's been big on the Hearthstone train this week too.
Yeah.
And I decided to play like ranked games, and made this this aggressive Gul'dan, like it just the most aggressive deck that you can make.
For those of you who don't know.
And essentially just nobody who was in like the lower level stuff was like ready to handle the all-out suicide aggression.
It's like red
nastiness. Black. Yeah, imagine like just the most red black or just
Right.
mono black, just pay life to do everything. And so I just very quickly dropped from 25 down to level 20, which like you want to be at level 1 eventually and then legendary. And just basically went undefeated mostly. And so that's been kind of fun, and it's really cool. As much as I love like Magic, It's cool to have a system for a game where you can walk in and literally, like, we were getting ready to leave the house and I had accidentally just started a game, and then my wife's like, hey, we're going to go. And I was like putting the dog away, run in, attack you, play a card, run out, go in, let them out to go potty, run in, attack, go out. Okay, let them back inside and put the dog in her crate. Attack, kill you. Sweet, I just killed you between like doing things, and it took like 5 minutes. And so I don't know, that idea of like just very temporary gaming is kind of fun.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Should we move along?
Second main phase.
So this is where we talk about other stuff. Email feedback. What email feedback do we have? This is where I am a little less prepared.
I know that we, Blades, you said that we got a new review, which brings us up to a number of
We
reviews.
were at 25 last I seen.
I am going to look
so
for
we're up
that
over
right
25
now.
reviews on iTunes, which helps us a ton. I feel like we got a fantastic community. You guys are all part of it. And so whenever you guys give us reviews on iTunes, whenever you follow us on Twitch, or subscribe to our podcast,
Like 85 on YouTube.
we're on YouTube. All of these things just really help other people be able to find us and be part of our great community. We think you guys are awesome, and honestly, if you guys weren't so awesome, I don't know if we'd be doing this almost a year later.
So yeah, what 25 reviews on iTunes, and the latest one is from Lurgan. Have I read this one?
I don't think so. And Lurgan's been regular in the chat for the last
yeah, that's
weeks.
right. MTGYou, better than a Stormcrow, or at least a close second.
Yeah, we've read that one.
Did we read that one?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And let me just make sure. Oh, no, love it. Here it is. This is it. This is Rissa8912. I love this podcast. The Fight Club before the live streams are awesome, and as well as the main content. Thank you. This is also, if you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, you're in the competition for receiving a playmat. At the end of this year, we are going to be picking a random person.
I thought you got a pick, didn't you?
Yes, but I'm
Right,
saying
no, we'll be
Oh,
picking
the
a random
other
person.
thing, the other
They
thing.
get to pick a
and they get
GP
and
playmat.
they get to pick a GP playmat from our friend third level judge Jeremy. He has a
Massive collection.
massive collection from all the GPs and things he's been at, and they get to pick one. So leave us
And
a
it's
review.
like not a small gift, because a lot of these, because they're exclusive playmats. You only get them while you're there. And so a lot of them sell afterwards on eBay for quite a bit of money, up to
Yeah.
$50, $60, $100,
Yeah.
whatever.
So and we did have a request for a different kind of for a contest that people that don't use iTunes can get into. So I had a brainstorm this week, guys, and it's gonna.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You mean I can't steal your idea?
Do you want to steal it? So
I'm just kidding.
I ran this past you guys, and you thought it was a pretty good idea, so I was going to talk about it now, and maybe we'll start it up. This is going to be a Twitter contest. And actually, I haven't ran this past you yet.
No, I'm for it.
Okay, so I will put up a picture on Twitter. It's going to be way zoomed in, let's just say. The very first one, and if you get, and everybody, per picture, you get one entry.
And you just guess at what card it is. And we may give you little hints along the way.
Yeah. If nobody guesses it, I'll zoom out a little bit and give it, and I don't know if it's going to be the next day or in a few hours. I don't know. Maybe it'll be one a day. And at the end, whoever wins, we're going to send something really cool. I haven't decided yet.
Sweet, like promo foils or
we should
awesome rares.
Yeah. This first one, I think, is probably going to come out here in the next day or two. I already have it ready. I already ran it past these guys, and I had them stumped.
It was hard.
Maybe we should send them one of our planeswalkers of choice that we just opened here today.
Yeah, that would happen. That could happen.
Ooh. But
Yeah.
isn't the qualifications when you do it once per day, but you got to tweet and retweet
Okay.
and follow, or what's the deal?
So I was going to say, and you tell me if this sounds bad. Everybody gets a free guess, but if you retweet, you get a second guess.
Ah.
That way you get one for free. If you're not the type of person that wants to retweet everything, then that's fine. But if you want that extra guess, You can retweet
That's
it.
awesome.
And then we'll probably just have a clever hashtag to make all of your guesses searchable for us.
That's right.
That'll keep things easy for us to be able to find, and also determine really who wins the prize first. Because maybe we'll get to day 4 or 5, and it's been a hard one, and then suddenly it'll be more obvious. And like the first person who's on it, we want to be able to give the prize to the right person. So
Right. Timestamp on it.
Yep.
I'm gonna be one of those people that like vote. Keeps voting over and over and over again. Just letting you know.
And we'll have different contests for different platforms and different places, so that hopefully we can make everyone happy or everyone
for sure.
unhappy, as the case may be. Hello, chat room. And anyway, that's all I have to say about that. The poll of the week, poll of the month, whatever. I haven't looked at it yet.
poll of the 2 weeks.
I checked. It was I think it was like 11 or 19 votes. I can't
11
remember.
or 19. No, that's
11 or
not.
19.
Very
Yeah.
similar
That
numbers.
seems like a pretty good
I'm a
gap.
little Dick Slessic.
Well, they add up to 30, which is a round number, so I could see how.
Okay, so the poll is.
We'll just cut it in half.
What
It's
is your
15.
favorite Planeswalker card being printed at M15? A Johnny Steadfast, Jace the Living Guild Pact, Liliana Vess, Chandra Pyromaster, Nisa, World Waker, or Garrick at Apex Predator?
Apex Predator.
There has been 18 so far, and the results are, so far, Ajani is 7, Jace is 1, Chandra is 1, Nisa is 4, Garrick is 5. So currently Ajani has
Johnny's
it.
kicking butt.
I'm going to
Oh,
leave
yeah.
this up for one more week.
One more week.
If you want to make a difference and you don't like those results, you get on there and change it. That's
I think
what
I'm
I
going to
wanna know.
spam out of Jace. Just
Yeah. You can vote from your phone, and then you could log in on your computer and also vote.
So
Double
Yeah.
votes for you.
I'm kind of curious to know if the M15 is actually setting up for the movie. Can I just quickly add that
So
in there?
actually, no. Okay, so here's the thing that I read also today, because I read a little bit of a flavor article talking about Chandelar, that they want a place that houses all of just the normal classic fantasy
Monocolored,
creatures,
whatever,
right?
yeah.
So like your elves, your goblins, like all these things live there, and it's in a traveling plane that floats in the blind eternities, which is the negative zone between all the other planes. So it's this
Right.
moving plane that is hyper mana rich. And it actually is a place where the old 1997 Magic video game took place. It's where they initially showcased it. And basically, they probably would have used Dominaria, but because of all the wars and things that have happened there, it's very post-apocalyptic
Those
there
damn
now.
frictions.
And with Chandelar, because it's like this hyper mana-rich place with all these classic fantasy tropes, they're able to probably just paint this really bright, vibrant, fantastic world. And I would really not be surprised if Chandelar is where they have the movie take place primarily, or at least as a primary location for sure.
seems like a base location,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Ravnica would be probably movie number 2.
Sounds awesome.
Which reminds me of Coruscant a little bit.
All right. So do you guys have anything else that you want to add? Any other sound effects, Rich? Excuse me.
Barry the Platypus,
go.
anyone?
Yeah, that's all we got.
Okay. So we're moving along.
I think so.
End step.
If you want to contact us, you can send email to mtgupodcast@gmail.com. Interact with us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/mtgu. Follow us on Twitter @TheMTGU. Catch us live on Thursday nights on twitch.tv/mtgu. Subscribe and like us on YouTube. Find us on YouTube at youtube.com/TheMTGU. We are also on Stitcher. So for the MTGU podcast,
I'm Rich.
I'm Damon.
I'm Blades.
and I'm James. Now we pass the turn to you.
I'm Rich Damon. Ham boning. Can't believe you never watched a regular show before, man.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Regular show? No.
Limousine lunchtime.
Whoa.
I don't even watch regular TV anymore. Like it's all
It's
Netflix
regular
or nothing
show.
for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. Like I was a little bit.
Don't have to set the chairs next time. Don't have to set the chairs next time. Skip.
We know your home skips. Pick up the phone skips. We know your home skip. Pick up the phone skips.
Future. Like.
Dude, there's this character that if I relate to anybody the closest, I'm really terrified
Muscle
that
Man.
it's Muscle Man. Like he just got used to be muscly and he's now fat, which is.
He's gonna be so surprised when he comes in with our clothes on. Dude, Muscle Man is not that kind of party. Oh, well, don't turn on the lights.
Like he always is telling jokes and he's like, "You want to know who would think that's hilarious? My mom."
Yeah, you should watch it. It's a kiddie TV show. It's fun. Dude, it makes fun of the 80s. Like
It's so
everything 80s. Like it has Rush in the music. Like
It's like every
awesome.
every show
Can't
is
go wrong
very
with Rush.
it's very formulaic in that there's like a normal problem or normal situation that comes up, and then like they do something that's like maybe a little bit not the most logical that makes it bad.
Like eating meatball subs in a
Right.
limousine.
For example, they have to clean a limousine, and then they're like, "Oh man, I'm so hungry for lunch. Limousine lunchtime." So they go and eat in the limousine, and they have meatball subs. And while they're in there, like the one character like shoots his meatball up out of the sandwich and it lands on the seat. And in an effort, his friend tries to catch it and like tosses his meatball sandwich. And they start slipping in the meatballs, and pretty soon this white limousine is covered in meatball juice on the inside. And so like, oh no, we gotta
I
fix
hate
this.
when that happens.
So they try to take it to like a limousine repair shop, and they're like, "Man, what can you do to fix this?" Well, pull it in, and we'll see what we can do. And as they're pulling it in, they scrape the whole side of the cart against the wall.
Oh.
And the limo driver's like, "There's only one way we can fix this. It's where only the richest, fanciest go. The limousine demolition derby." And the grand prize is a brand new limousine. So they go to the limousine demolition derby, and it's all these fancy rich guys like with like diamonds in their drinks instead of ice cubes and just random stuff. And they're in this demo derby, and they beat all the demo derby guys, but they like all are also equipped with like weapons on the limos, which as you progress, it seems like kind of normal. And then they just break it wide open because they're like, oh, there's also a final level. There's a limousine Godzilla that like comes out and they have to like press the special rocket launcher button to like pop the limo open and shoot the rocket at the limo Godzilla. And then they get the new limo and they bring it back to the park and everything's fine. And then the boss gets in and he puts Mr. Benson, and he eats his sauerkraut sandwich in the back seat and spills it on the seat, and they're like, it's like, that's fine, I'm rich, I'll just buy a new one. And show's over.
There you go.
So, thanks for joining us for that regular life recap. This is why you come to MTGYou, I know. Anyway, thanks for joining us today, people. We'll be going off the air here for about 10 minutes, maybe less. We're just going to set up.
Mostly set up, right?
We are. We're really close. We're just going to go off for about 5 minutes, and then we'll come right back with Fight Club Part 2.
Don't touch that dial.
Yeah. And so thanks for joining us, and we will be back.